When contractors say that they want more opportunities for property managers, that usually means that they want more calls, they want more jobs, and they want more closed deals. But in multifamily, those opportunities usually do not go to the company that sells the hardest. They go to the company that the property manager trusts to handle the problem correctly, communicate clearly, and make their job easier. That is how you become the first call. And once you become the first call, more opportunities stop being random. That matters because multifamily is one of the most durable service vehicles that a contractor can build inside of. Housing behavior shifts with economic conditions, but apartments remain active across all of those shifts. In stronger periods, many people move into apartments as they step into, things like independence, and they're relocating, and they're improving their living situation. But in tighter periods, many people, they choose apartments as they're downsizing. They're trying to simplify their life, and they're trying to manage costs. The reasons change, but the activity stays. Units still turn, residents still submit work orders, properties still need repairs, they still need maintenance, and they still need to be protected. That gives multifamily a kind of stability that makes it worth understanding at a much deeper level. Contractors who enter this space sometimes, they misunderstand where the growth actually comes from. They think the path is better salesmanship, more prospecting, more lunch and learns, more follow up, more pressure. There's nothing wrong with these methods, but in multifamily, selling harder is rarely what creates durable momentum. The company that grows is usually the one that comes from creating less friction. That part is really what changes the game for a lot of guys, because property managers are not only evaluating whether you could do the work, they're evaluating what it feels like to use your company. They're asking whether your team makes the situation easier to manage or harder to manage. They're thinking about things like access and timing and updates and any sort of disruption to the residents, documentation. Do you help make budgets responsible and creating internal communication, and whether the issue is going to stay contained or if it's going to become one more problem that they're going to have to chase and deal with. That's why, the first call vendor has so much value. The first call vendor is not just a qualified contractor, the first call vendor is trusted. And when something matters, the manager wants the company that can solve the issue without creating extra stress around what that issue is. They want a vendor who communicates clearly and respects the site and helps close the loop, handles the job in a way that protects the operation, not just the contractor's invoice. And that is a different standard than just simply being really good at your trade. A contractor may look at a service request and see a scope of work. A property manager sees the consequences that can become attached to that scope. They see the residents, they see the maintenance team, they see the schedules, the budgets, the expectations, the pressure from ownership, and the risk of the issue getting worse if it's handled poorly. In multifamily, the work is never just the work. The work lives inside of this operating environment, and the vendors who grow here, they learn how to support that environment really, really well. Trust usually starts with reliability. In this business, reliability means more than just showing up. It means like showing up when you said you would, prepared the way you said you would, and handling the assignment with such a professional level of consistency. A missed commitment in multifamily travels so much further than many companies realize. It affects maintenance coordination, it affects resident expectations, it affects the manager's confidence in the decision to use you. And reliability tells the property manager that your company can be counted on when moving parts are already in motion. Trust gets stronger through good communication, and good communication is rarely just noise. It's clarity. It's a clear ability to provide a scope. It's clear expectations. It's quick updates if any sort of conditions change. It's a clean closeout process when the job's done. Property managers don't want to chase just the basic information. They want to know what is happening, what changed, what the issue is, and whether it's been resolved. And contractors who communicate well, they reduce uncertainty. And reducing uncertainty is one of the fastest ways to become very valuable. Then trust is going to help deepen through operational awareness. This is really where a company starts seeing like the separation from the other competitors in the field, because multifamily is not just a property. It's a business operation, and it's also somebody's home. That changes how good vendors behave. They understand that the resident experience, it matters. They understand that the site teams are carrying the pressure from many different directions, and they understand that how they access a unit, how they leave a work area, how they document things, how they carry themselves on site, they all shape whether the property manager feels comfortable calling them again. This is why service beats sales in multifamily. Service is what lowers friction. Service is what creates confidence. Service is what proves maturity. And a lot of contractors, they want more opportunities, but the deeper question is, why would a property manager trust them with the next one? In this vertical, repeat opportunities usually follows repeat confidence. And that confidence is built through consistency. Not one impressive meeting, not one strong pitch, not one good job. Consistency. Property managers, they remember patterns. They remember who required less babysitting. They remember who solved the issue without making the process heavier or more of a burden. They remember who respected the community, respected the office, and followed through without being chased. And over time, consistency turns a company from just one option into the one that they think of first. That is really where the growth in your business will begin to take shape. Because at first, you may win one opportunity, then you get called again, then the name starts moving inside of the management company. Then you're not just being considered for one isolated issue at one property. You begin to earn trust inside of this wider circle. And that circle is so important because that's entering into the portfolio world. That's how multifamily, how it grows. And it happens so often, not always through one big breakthrough, but through repeated confidence that expands the relationship depth over time. That is also why contractors, they need to think beyond just the single job. That job matters, but the relationship value around that job matters a heck of a lot more. Management companies, they think in terms of continuity, right? They think of things like vendor reliability. They think of, what is that resident experience like? What is the condition of the asset? They look at operational flow across time. If you understand that, you stop seeing every assignment as just a chance to generate more revenue, and you start seeing it as a chance to prove that your company belongs in the operational rhythm of that property. It's a different kind of mindset. It's critical if you can make that shift. If you can kind of like flip that switch and make that shift, because once you understand it clearly, you realize that the opportunity is not simply just getting more work. The opportunity is to become so dependable, so easy to use, so trustworthy that calling your company feels like the safest decision that they've made all day, all week, maybe even for the whole month. That is what the first call status really is. It's not even branding. It's not a slogan. It's earned. It's earned confidence. And earned confidence changes the business. When opportunity feels random, growth stays fragile. You're always chasing the next opening. You're always relying on that effort to replace what didn't repeat on its own. But when your company becomes the first call, opportunity becomes more relational and much more predictable. You're no longer depending on different types of introductions. You're benefiting from this accumulated trust. It's compounding. It's such a stronger way to build. So if you want more opportunities from property managers, ask a better question. Don't ask how to sell harder. Ask what makes a property manager trust a vendor enough to use them again without hesitation. Ask whether your service model reduces friction or adds to it. Ask whether your communication creates clarity or creates work for the property manager. Ask whether your team understands that solving the issue is only part of the assignment. The other part is supporting the property while being able to solve that issue. And that's the path. It's not more pressure, it's more trust. It's not even louder selling, it's just better service. Not chasing every opportunity, but becoming the company that they want to call again. Because in multifamily, the vendors who grow are usually the vendors who make life easier for the property manager. They solve the problem correctly, they communicate clearly, and they support the operation without creating new friction. And when you do that consistently, you stop hoping for more opportunities and you start earning them. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you soon. Take care.